All beings. All beings, y'all.
Can I get a amen? Yeah, can I get an amen from everyone in this joint?
Amen.
Thank you. That right there is my illustrious co-host, the one, the only Boston Beer. Come get some up. Actually, it's not a festive evening tonight, is it? Wipe that smile off our faces, because it's about to get serious up in here. And the reason is that my co-host here, Boston Bay, is known by wait.
Stop it. Okay. Stop it.
Hey! Woo!
Let's switch subjects quickly.
Dennis Sweeney. Yeah, we're gonna switch. I forgot. Now I remember who the author of that was. Switch subject. All right. We're gonna get serious tonight. Boston Brandy in the hizzy like Thin Lizzy. That's what's up. Boston Brandy, she got fire. She got fire. All right. The Jewel of Indiana's here. Hello, Julie. Namaste, Julie. Hopefully you led a yoga practice somewhere today. Cheers. Making changes. Changes. All right, sing the second verse. Never mind. Okay.
I forget the second verse, but I do
David
like that
Bowie.
one.
Turn and face the changes. Maybe I'll play that one during the show. All right. Lulu Bell's here. Oh my goodness.
Lulu, I missed you.
And Tim. Okay. Let me tell you guys what we want to do. Changes. We want to break down the Enrique. Do you like this when it's like this, Bia, or you like it better like this?
I mean, either one.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the other one, but then I think you were kind of off-centered.
I'm like off-center.
Yes.
I've been off-center for years, mate.
Seriously.
So anyway.
I'm sure.
All right. So we want to, so my co-host Boston Bia did some research. By the way, I'm going to connect the phone in case someone wants to call. Not that weird guy who was saying stuff to Nan, but like someone like legitimate. So give me a second here. Bloop, 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 bloop. And she has done some research, and I feel as though good. Give your thoughts. What we're going to attempt to do tonight, Bia. You're on mute, mate. We've got to unmute you. There you go.
Sorry. I thought we could go back and look back through the clips and everything that we have been hearing, especially coming from the initial investigation from, or the press release that Early put out, and kind of, the evolution of this case as we're coming up on a year. Today we got some breaking news, which we're going to get to. So I thought we can just kind of see, what we heard 11 months ago versus what we're hearing today. So that's that.
And Bia, what do you think people have gotten wrong? Oh, Joanna's here as well. Your two besties are here.
Yes.
Look at the kind of support. Look at the numbers this girl's
getting.
What's up, bestie? What do you think people have gotten wrong about the Enrique situation? Enrique Mido. Wait a minute. Someone said, "Hi, Anna." Anna says Enrique myocarditis from the jab. Well, we're going to talk about those things tonight. And man, there's a certain, I'm not going to further delineate what I'm thinking right now, but what do you think, Bia, that we can clear up for people tonight?
Well, so going back to last fall, at a standout, I met some of the family members. Um, you know, we were having a standout at Morrissey's office, and they were very they were afraid to be there. They felt they were scared. They didn't they had never been to a standout before, so they didn't really know what to expect. And I got to talking to the to his aunt, and I saw pictures of him from the hospital. So I can, I've seen the pictures myself, and I can verify some things. But I think there hasn't been a lot of information released since the investigation was taken over. Everything's just been, and the family were pretty much told to just keep quiet. Like, if you're going to go to the standouts, they were discouraged from speaking out. Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of misinformation out there. But what are you clapping for?
Scott.
Oh, okay.
Scott and looks like Shiro. I don't know how to say this. It looks like Shiro 1992. Hello, welcome.
Yes, that's Tim.
Oh, that is Tim. Hi, Tim.
Yes, that's Tim. That's Lulu Bell's husband. Yes, there is a standout tomorrow at Meatball at Morrissey's office, and that one's for the 1 year of Matthew Farwell's arrest.
So, in addition,
yes, Making Changes saw the pictures with me. Yes, it was 3 of us there.
In addition, I think there is some. Let me just remove this for the moment.
Mhm.
Hey, Dean College's own Mark Cunningham.
Hey,
What's
Mark.
up, brother? Meal food October 12th at the Irish Brewing Company.
Yep.
In Norwood.
Norwood.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
6 p.m.
Yep, 6 p.m. So this is what we're talking about here. We believe that there has been some attempts to fill in the gaps of what actually happened to Enrique. We believe there's some false information that has been given. I know that it was reported to Turtle Boy by one of the EMTs that this was a result of a brain aneurysm and complications thereof. I disagree with what they told Turtle Boy, and I'm going to explain why I believe that. And we had done a show on this that you could go back into the archives and see myself, John McDonough, and Nurse Kim interviewing Coach Chris Luttrell. So I want you guys to internalize this, what I'm about to tell you. I want this to set the stage for one of Enrique's injuries before we begin sharing these clips with you. Chris Luttrell is and you could Google his name and put Coach Chris Luttrell or Chris Luttrell MMA, etc. He's an Irishman from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was a law enforcement for the New Mexico State Police. He was on the SWAT team there, and then he went to Albuquerque Police Department, the city police, where he retired from. He is one of the first mixed martial arts fighters in our country in the early 90s. So think around the time of the UFC when no holds barred fighting began, Chris was fighting. Chris is Jackson's MMA is the biggest and most famous MMA academy in our nation. Jackson's MMA out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. They have had more champions come through there, from John Jones and Clay Guida and Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Rashad Evans, and the names go on and on and on of champions that have come out of Jackson's MMA. The first ever black belt at Jackson's MMA was Chris Luttrell. Mike Winklejohn, who co-founded Jackson's MMA, and Greg Jackson, neither fought MMA. Their first fighter was Chris Luttrell. And he's a law enforcement officer. And he taught combatives. So I want you guys to understand when this man talks, that is the gravity that he speaks with. He has taught defensive tactics at the DEA security, government security forces, police departments all over New Mexico, and so forth. And he's fought MMA, and he coached MMA for 2 decades. Good evening, Noodles Mama. So I want you to understand, yeah, and in fact, Scott and I have talked about his travails to New Mexico to do some prisoner exchange stuff. So I want you to understand who Coach is, okay? Now, the broken neck aspect of Enrique, where he broke, he is broken neck. Bia confirmed that today. He confirmed it with the family at the time and found it in news reporting. Now, I want you to internalize this. There has never been a broken neck in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So, and a championship that conducts no holds barred fighting with very, very minimal rule set that include kneeing in the face. You could knee somebody right in the nose. You could knee someone right in the mouth, in the eye socket. None of that is illegal. You can take someone's head with your fingers and knee that person in the face, and it's 100% legal. Okay? You can elbow to the face. The only thing you can't do if you're sitting in the mount position is do a 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock elbow like that. You can't. You can throw an elbow strike laterally, but you can't come straight down on a person's mouth or nose with an elbow. Ironically, though, you can knee them in the face. So, okay. So in the history of the UFC, there's never been a broken neck. In the history of Pride Fighting Championship, which back then was the UFC's competition, there's never been a broken neck. In the history of Strikeforce, there's never been a broken neck. In the history of Bellator MMA, there has never been a broken neck. So I want you to take all that now. So if you have a guy who suffers in police defensive tactics training, a broken neck, before we contextualize the rest of this, there's something wrong. Because it should never get to a point where there's a neck crank to the level where that person's neck is broken. I don't know how it was broken, but we should never have gotten to that point. Hello, Carla Maria. So now with that, Bia has, again, she's compiled a bunch of videos. We're going to watch them and we're going to break them down. Oh, I'm sorry.
If you don't mind, I'm sorry. It just looks awkward with the camera
Okay.
behind you.
Come right over there.
Just sit down.
Jeff, you and Terry over there.
Can you pause this real quick, DJ?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me just preface this by saying this happened. I believe this presser was within days of this happening. They were told to come into the office, not to be put on TV, not to be a part of a presser. They were just told, come in. We want to, let you know what's going to be happening with the investigation, because as we're going to see, Early is going to eventually, at the end of this speech, recuse himself in his office because Enrique worked for this Worcester DA's office. So the thing is that this family had no idea that they were about to come out and be put on national TV, for it to be broadcast, for it to be, so they had no idea this was going on. So, all right, I'll be quiet now.
And actually, no, I don't want you to be quiet. And also, we don't want to do all 15 minutes. So you tell me where you want me to pause and skip ahead and so forth.
I mean, maybe skip ahead till where he starts talking about, I didn't timestamp because this is
okay.
a longer video,
It's
but
okay. Yeah, it's 15.
yeah, this is the other ones are just under 3 minutes, so we can hear the whole thing.
So this, he's just experienced a tragic loss. all this kind of stuff, talking about what a great guy he is. Luckily, there's a transcript here so you can see it.
Yeah.
An investigation. They've continued to investigate and will continue to do so, as just as they would on any other case. And they will also work with whoever takes this matter. We don't have a cause and manner of death to release at this time, as the autopsy report has been concluded. The autopsy has been concluded, but the autopsy report has not been finalized.
And by the way, Bia, to date, have we seen that autopsy report?
No.
Will be completed by the office.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, I was just saying that, no, we haven't. We did get information today that you'll get to at the end of this.
Okay.
It's the chief medical examiner. Now, I'm going to be limited in what I can take for questions. I'll try and answer some questions. We're early into this. And again, our office isn't handling this. Today, we're here for Enrique. This is all about Enrique.
Yeah,
I'll
sure
try
it
and
is.
answer a few questions if I can.
Sure it is.
It's
all about you.
Your office or investigate, are they going to continue to simultaneously investigate with another outside body, or are they going to just pass what they have on to an independent investigator?
They're going to continue to investigate. I don't know who will be handling the investigation. I just know it will be someone without a stake in its outcome. Okay? They'll make those decisions. That's not for me to make those decisions. Again, I have a conflict. Whoever does take over this matter will be making those decisions. But right now, we're going to continue to investigate. We're going to do it just as it is. Will other things be done? I'm sure that they will. But that's something I can't speculate on at this point.
Family has concerns. A lot of, in other cases in the state, you know, the state police are.
I just want to say to Noodles Mama, if I go there, then I'm kind of going to the end of the episode. So if you hang in there, I'm gonna get to it. What's important here is no autopsy, no report, no video, and we're gonna take it from there.
A lot of scrutiny to the way they've been investigating things that involve other state troopers. Would you rather see this go to the federal level and away from the state police?
Okay.
No.
I'm not going to speculate as to that, Bob. I did talk to several people about taking over this matter on Friday. I'm not going to get into who they are. I'm not going to get into who they are. And we talked about the case. My concern is that we can't investigate it, okay?
Why is that?
And I want it done by someone who doesn't have a stake in its outcome. And I hope that
Because
answers
he
your
worked
question.
for them.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't. So what? What does that have to do with anything?
To death, that his teeth were knocked out. What are your concerns, and what do you know about what happened at the academy last week?
Again, we know it was in the boxing ring. It was videotaped. But like I said, the autopsy's been concluded, but the report hasn't been finalized. So, but I shouldn't be speaking to that. It's going to be whoever we give this matter to will be able to address that. And they've got to be able to do a thorough and complete investigation. And again, it has to be someone without a stake in its outcome.
Is there a conflict of interest to have the troopers dedicated to your office? Since, you know, State Police Academy, MSP troopers, is that a conflict?
At this point, we have a conflict as an office.
No, you
but right
don't.
now, we can't stop this investigation. And
don't.
the state troopers that we have assigned to our state police detective unit are some of the finest, most professional people that I've ever dealt with in my life. And I am certain that they will continue to do this in a professional way. And we've got to do things. You just can't stop an investigation. There's some things that have to be.
So if Kevin Albert had been somehow tragically killed, do you think the Norfolk DAs, I'll say, oh, no, we can't investigate this. Kevin's one of our own?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I mean, he's a. You said Kevin Albert. Kevin Albert is a Canton cop,
Right.
But would the MSP be conflicted out? I don't know, because he didn't work for the MSP.
Right, but their offices are quite close, aren't they?
Right.
They work in so they're in the same town. So they all know each other. Okay, so let's hear what Scotty has to say. Still a conflict of interest. DA Early's Worcester County State Police Detective Group would be conflicted investigating MSP Academy in New Braintree. Oh, so conflicted in that way. In Canton, you shitting me. Thank you, Dennis. So yeah, honor, and my oldest son wonders why I don't want him. Man, I think it's a very, very honorable profession. I'm about to go to my reunion with the colonel of the New York State Police, is one of my classmates. So he is equal to Jeff Noble. But he's an honorable person. These people aren't. These people don't have what Detective McClurk is talking about here, honor and integrity. Did they have an interpreter for the family? Apparently not. Apparently not, from what we understand. Is there anything else we need from this one, or do you want to get to something else here, Bia?
No, I mean, pretty much again, the family didn't know they were going to be on TV. They brought them there just to talk about the investigation. And then before they knew it, they were in front of all the cameras. And basically,
used.
and, being paraded. And like you said, this was a week. So this was within a week of him passing away. And then, he basically said, no, we can't. This is an interesting one too.
This one is interesting, and it speaks to something that we would have hoped would not occur at this type of an institution. So we're very, very surprised by this.
Investigation into the death of a state police recruit.
A former trainee at the same academy and a friend of the fallen recruit says that he experienced bullying and harassment at the academy. Enrique Delgado Garcia died at a hospital on Friday, one day after getting hurt during a boxing exercise at the State Police Academy. Former trainee Giovanni John Baptiste said that the two trained together at the Braintree Academy.
Baptiste was there. He said he was the target of racial bullying. He says he was told to go back to Haiti and was deprived of meals and even forced to stay up at night counting bricks in a wall or coloring sweatpants with a marker.
There was one trooper, he showed me, he told me like, yo, you're not gonna graduate. I'm not gonna lie to you, I will never let you graduate that place. You don't deserve to be here. You will never wear that uniform.
John Baptiste says his time ended at the academy last month when he failed a test, and it was Delgado Garcia who drove him home. The trainee says he has 2 documented complaints on file at the academy.
In a statement, Massachusetts State Police said they do not tolerate any form of hazing and are taking these allegations very seriously. And, quote, the individual with whom you spoke was dismissed from the 90th recruit training troop last month and is not permitted to reapply to the MSP, that is. Privacy laws prevent the department from commenting any further on any details of the trainee's dismissal, but the department vehemently denies the allegations.
Today marks 6 months since Enrique Delgado Garcia died. He is the man who collapsed during a training exercise at the Massachusetts State Police Academy last September. His family says they still don't know why he died. Our NBC 10 consumer investigative reporter Bianca Beltran has new details tonight about who is part of the team that is hired to conduct an independent investigation and what happens next for the academy.
Every morning, Jose Perez said his wife cries for her son, Enrique Delgado Garcia.
Ella llora toda la mañana.
It's been 6 months since the 25-year-old died after participating in a boxing training at the Massachusetts State Police Academy. His family says they still don't have answers about what went wrong that day. The Attorney General appointed former prosecutor David Meyer to lead an independent investigation into his death. Meyer hired 8 investigators to his team. Lisa Holmes oversaw the Boston Police Academy and internal investigations. Norma Ayala Leong, also a former supervisor at the Boston Training Academy. Paul Joyce supervised Boston PD's Anti-Gang Unit and Criminal Investigations Bureau, now a professor of criminal justice. Robert Harrington was supervisor of BPD's Homicide Unit and Bureau of Internal Affairs. Thomas Larned and Kimberly Lawrence are former FBI special agents, now with investigative firms. Gretchen Lundgren is a former assistant district attorney in Suffolk County and former special assistant U.S. attorney, now a security specialist. And Edith Ayuso is a former witness advocate for the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. Meyer said she works with him during the regular meetings with the family of Delgado Garcia. In an email, Meyer said no member of the investigative team has any past or present affiliation with the Massachusetts State Police.
These are people of high integrity.
A retired judge and adjunct faculty member at Boston College Law, Jack Liu, says while he believes their varied experience in law enforcement will be beneficial to the investigation, the amount of time the investigation is taking may raise questions.
I worry that when we do police investigations, we take too long, and that can make people think that the police get special treatment, and we don't want that.
Each day that goes by,
Y tengo fe en las autoridades.
Jose Perez says he has faith that the authorities will reach a conclusion about what happened.
He has more
Now,
faith
as
than I do.
this investigation continues, the Massachusetts State Police is in the process of selecting independent experts to conduct a comprehensive review of the Academy's programs and practices. Now, in a statement, Colonel Jeffrey Noble said, quote, the department has commissioned an independent assessment to provide valuable insight.
Yeah, that's going to be like that group that looking at the Canton PD. Remember, what was the name of that group? Yeah, super duper independent. Yeah, okay.
Into the ways in which our training can best equip recruits to become highly skilled, community-focused troopers. He continued to say, we remain committed to ensuring that all training, curriculum, staff instruction, and physical space fosters professionalism, integrity, and excellence while prioritizing the health and well-being of our recruits. Now, the boxing program remains suspended, and the Academy plans to implement a pilot program that will divide up this year's class into two smaller cohorts, one beginning in May and another in October. And they say this approach will provide the opportunity for the Academy instructors to better address the individual needs of each recruit. In the studio, I'm Bianca Beltran.
All right, let's talk about that. So we're gonna kind of get to some of what Noodle's mama asked, and forgive me if there's something in that I've missed in there. Please let me know because we want to get to it. So. It was reported to Turtle Boy by a Worcester, I believe, EMT, that it was a brain aneurysm and complications from a brain aneurysm that caused this. To which I say to that EMT, BS. And these are the reasons that I say that. First of all, I was visited by an EMT at my home this past year. And what they did was ask me a lot of questions. Because they didn't know anything about me, just like they don't know anything about Garcia. So do they have access to his medical records, Bia?
Probably not. They
I
just
would say
need a
probably
transport.
not. I would say probably not. And in fact, when I did go to the hospital after seeing the EMTs, they didn't transport me. I went to the hospital on my own. My records were there. Do you think that those EMTs know anything about what was in my records that the hospital had?
No, I'm sure they didn't have access to it.
Exactly,
Like-
they don't because
Right.
of HIPAA laws and stuff. They didn't have access to that. Is it possible that rumor went from the hospital to the EMT staff? Is it possible that they were calling their friends there? That's possible, but I want to know how a brain aneurysm explains a broken neck
Or broken teeth.
or broken out teeth. I also want to share with you, I spoke with a retired Boston police officer, and Bia was on the phone with me, with Javier Velasquez, a former MMA. I don't know if he fought MMA, trained MMA. You guys have heard about it from Sean McDonough. We had a phone conversation. It might have even been a 3 or a 4-way conversation that we had with retired Officer Velasquez.
Yeah.
And he is very steeped in jiu-jitsu, and I also have a background in jiu-jitsu. So I posed a question to Officer Velasquez about how one's knee could become dislocated. In fact, Bia did a little bit of research. We asked her to find out how many people have broken their neck in boxing. He found one. I think it was Vinny Pazienza. Like one. And do you know how many boxing matches there are in this country every weekend? There are more boxing matches by 100-fold than there have been MMA over the past 50 years. Okay. So, because MMA didn't even exist until about 92 as a sanctioned sport with UFC 1. So it is inconsistent to have a broken neck from boxing training, which is defensive tactics training at the academy. So The brain aneurysm does not explain. It could explain the broken teeth if he wasn't wearing a proper mouth guard. I wear a double mouth guard, so it guards my bottom and top teeth. And there's a hole in the middle of that mouth guard that I breathe through. Actually, there's several holes across the center. I don't know what the hell kind of mouth guard they're issuing at the academy, and I don't know what Enrique was wearing. I have no idea. So is it possible for the broken teeth? It's possible. However, you would have to have instructors are going, whoa, there was just a very, very hard shot there. How you end up with a broken neck, I don't know. Let's get into the jiu-jitsu now. The jiu-jitsu, we're talking about a dislocated knee. So what you saw was a dislocated knee and either a dislocated or fractured ankle. And I demoed for you one day how you do execute something known as an inside heel hook. And an inside heel hook, where you take the person's leg, cross the body, you trap the heel, their heel, in the crook of your arm here, between your bicep and your forearm, and you trap their foot in your armpit. So their foot is now completely controlled by your arm. In this case, I'm using my left arm right here, but their foot is trapped here. Their heel is here. So I squeeze my bicep, and now I have their foot. Now, if I turn, it's going to pop their knee out. And I can also break that ankle that way or fracture that ankle. How do you, so somebody please answer for me. How do you get a popped knee and a fractured ankle in box defensive tactics training that is boxing based? That I just don't buy. Jules saying all those injuries are not inflicted by, well, it's possible. It's possible that it was, but it was not done with, and I hate to use this, when it was being proctored or administered by academy instructors that were acting as safety referee types. Now, we have heard, what have we heard about relative to these fight nights at the academy? Would you like to tell the audience about that?
So what we've heard is that this is, retired officers come and there's bets being made. Like these are after hours fights type of things. That's what we've heard.
And so that right there, that doesn't lend itself to the type of it does lend itself to the type of situation where now in my mind I can start to picture Enrique's injuries. Now I can see a no holds barred fight where there either aren't instructors there or they're instructors that are cheering it on, that are caught up in the moment, that are not providing what Coach Luttrell does, which is, I'm not an MMA fighter. I've trained MMA. I've never fought MMA. So I am not even close to being an MMA fighter. I have never heard or seen something like that in the gym. Have people in the gym gotten serious and it turned into a fight? Yes. And then teammates and coaches are immediately breaking that up. Have I ever heard of someone breaking their neck in MMA training? Never. Nor has Coach Luttrell. So with that, that scenario that you just painted about fight night with a bunch of retired fat troopers coming to watch two guys fight and probably make bets or do something really stupid and immature like that, that I could see.
But just to remind you, don't forget when I was talking to the aunt, she mentioned that she, at their meeting afterwards, they had gone to collect some of his belongings. So they were at the academy.
We're learning more tonight about the man tapped to leave.
Please continue. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That she had, the head of the training facility, she, the aunt had said, how did you allow this to happen? And he was like, this was the aunt to my nephew. And he said, I wasn't even here. I wasn't framing him, and got up and walked away from her. Wouldn't even look at her in the eyes, which, it's an insult. So because she's like, how could you allow this to happen? He goes, I wasn't even here. I wasn't framing him, was his answer.
Yeah. And if he wasn't there, why wasn't there another instructor there? I mean, are they trying to tell me there's one instructor that monitors these activities in the whole of the academy? I don't believe that. So he was saying he wasn't there. There was certainly somebody else there for sure.
Right.
If you have thoughts and opinions and you want to call in, we're going to throw this at the bottom of the screen. Let's go with this one, see what we got here.
Lead the investigation into Enrique Delgado Garcia's death. He's the trooper killed in a training exercise at the police academy earlier this month. Delgado Garcia was sworn in as a trooper from the hospital before passing away. Here's NBC 10's Bianca Beltran with the latest, new at 6.
A photo of Enrique Delgado Garcia hangs at the desk where he worked in the Worcester County District Attorney's Office as a victim witness advocate. The investigation into his death following a training exercise at the State Police Academy now moves from the DA's office to Attorney David Meyer, appointed by the Massachusetts Attorney General to provide an independent review.
I'm grateful to Attorney General Campbell for that appointment. He appears to be a highly experienced and respected prosecutor, and I'm sure he'll assemble a team and do the work.
Objectivity, transparency will be the cornerstones of how David approaches this.
Attorney Gerard Leone worked with Meyer when they were both assistant district attorneys in Middlesex County.
So any work that's already been done on the case, any fact finding, will be turned over to David Meyer and his team. And I expect that he will look at everything, and knowing David with a fine-tooth comb. And he will consider all of that information, but he won't rely on any of it. He'll do his own investigation of anything that's been done to this point.
Retired Judge Jack Lew defended a criminal case Meyer prosecuted in 1991.
This guy is not going to be intimidated by the state police. They may rightfully be a little intimidated by him. The biggest challenge will be how critical he is willing to be of the Mass State Police. I hope very critical, but he has to follow the evidence.
The family of Enrique Delgado Garcia tells us that the public is invited to honor him at the Mercadante Funeral Home in Worcester Friday evening from 4 to 8 o'clock. And they tell us that Delgado Garcia, who was pinned as a state trooper on his deathbed, will receive full state police honors. Reporting in Boston, I'm Bianca Beltran, NBC 10 Boston.
Yeah, it's so great to be honored. Yeah, it's so great to be honored after they were part of you being killed, and they're not sharing any of the evidence about it. So it's great to receive those honors after the fact, after they took your life. So that's great. Yes, you are welcome. So let's go through some of the chats and see what people say here. If there's anything, I guess Cheryl with an S is here. Hello, Cheryl with an S. Let's see. Gretchen Lundgren was the attorney who represented Michael Proctor when he and Yuri had to turn over the enemy. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know who Gretchen Lundgren is. Thank you very much, Cheryl with an S. And Scotty, as you like to call him. I know you call him Scotty Boy.
Scotty Boy.
There you go. Yeah, and anybody's willing to call. Agreed EMT, total BS. They beat the crap. Yeah, there's no question. I don't want to presume things that I don't know. So I don't know if one person beat him. I don't know if 2 people beat him. I don't know if 3 people beat him. I just don't know. I can't presume that. So what this episode is about, so that you guys understand what we're getting at here, this episode is not about what we know. This episode is about what we don't know. Because a lot of people have presumed a lot of things. And, Bia was listening to an expert the other day, and I'm not going to name this person because I don't want to call this person out. And this person said, "Oh, this investigation takes time." And I almost had an aneurysm when she said it. What takes time? There were dozens of witnesses there watching. What takes time? Can somebody answer me what takes all that time. You had a whole bunch of academy students, and you apparently, presumably, had some retired officers there. You had to, I mean, by your own account, this is training, so you had to have training officers there. So how long does it take to figure out what happened with dozens of witnesses? Can someone answer that for me?
Yeah, good question.
So give us an example of when it would take a long time to figure something out, a crime like that, a crime.
Yeah, like when you don't have a body, like, I mean,
Yeah, you
or
find a
can't,
body somewhere and
right.
it's on the side of the road. So you find a body on the side of the road and somebody died and there was a report of somebody missing, but you don't know how the person got there. So now we have to do an investigation. We got to use cameras to try to find out, like just like what you said with Adelson. You know what I mean? Where a car traversed from Miami and then was picked up on cameras up in Tallahassee. You know, so there are different situations that present a lot of problems for detectives to figure out what the fuck happened. How hard can it be to find out what happened when there are dozens of people that watched it?
Right.
How hard can it be?
Yeah.
There's witnesses there that saw it, as we say in Massachusetts. There was cameras and video. Let's get to cameras and video now. Okay, so Brian, my colleague, Brian LTL, has, he's put up a billboard for the family. He's been, he had Bia as his translator at one of the events.
Yeah, the first time he met them is when we were there back in November 13th. That I introduced him to the aunt. I introduced him to to his mother and his sister and nephew. Yeah. So, and I was the only one there that spoke Spanish, so I was translating for them and all the other YouTube shows that were out there.
Yeah, here's the thing, Scott. I don't care if Meyer said it was going to take a year. You've been through police training. You know what's going on, right? There was dozens of witnesses and cameras. So the evidence is there. I don't buy it. We haven't seen the autopsy report. The family apparently haven't released an autopsy report. Both of us, these two people right here, communicated with the cousin, Julio, in 2 languages. And he wanted to talk to us and he didn't want to talk to us. And we believe that there's a really, really good chance that
like they're just gonna...
that they've been threatened with.
Right. Well, that's your suspicion.
Okay, so give yours then. If you disagree, yeah.
No, it's not that I necessarily disagree. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You give your theory.
I mean, my theory is potentially if there is any member of the nuclear family or tangential family that's here illegally, that they would have been threatened with deportation. And if that's the case, then they might say, okay, now some people might take a stance and say, you know what? Let him kick me out. I'm going to speak my truth. Now, first of all, there's hiring a lawyer. First of all, they put his body in the ground as quickly as they possible, paid for everything. So naturally, the family's like, oh, well, they didn't know that you need to have an independent forensic pathologist examine that body before you touch it. That is my body, not yours. That body will go to the morgue and it will stay there until my forensic pathologist examines that body. And they didn't do that. Now, there's maybe a couple of reasons that didn't happen. One could be that they didn't know, that they were just not privy to what protocol might be, which is why we were trying to get a hold of them, because we knew what happened with Sandra Birchmore. And even though they didn't examine the body, they examined the autopsy report. 2, they might not have had the money to hire one. We don't know. I have no idea what their financial situation is. and I don't know what it costs. So I would just be speaking out of my mouth. I mean, it could be $20,000. Who knows
Yeah.
what it costs? Okay.
Yeah.
Third,
I've actually talked to Jen Root about that and to
Mhm.
have, because she had to do the same
Mhm.
thing.
Yep.
And just to have somebody, you know, review like an
The report?
independent, the report is starts at 5,000.
Okay. So the body could have been 4 times that, or
Right.
5 times that. For
So I
all we
don't
know.
think you're far off. For
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just taking a guess. I have no
Right.
idea what it would cost. So, and the fourth thing is if somebody was vulnerable in terms of their status here in this country, whether that could even be a green card, that could be revoked if you make the right phone calls, and that person could be deported, or persons, and that could be enough to ask them to. So what you see is a tacit, you know, again, you'll see some tweets by the family, or they'll show up at something, but you don't see an all-out assault that you would see, like, be it if it was your children or your child,
right.
right?
Right.
If that was Andrew, there would be an all-out assault. You would be you'd sell your house in in New Hampshire to get a lawyer to go after the Mass State Police, right?
Right.
But you might be in a completely different financial strata from them, and I have no idea what their finances are. So
Right.
those are the 3 reasons I think. So he was put in the ground. So if you're the state police, you're going like this. As soon as they crank down, they give the flag to the mother. He's in the ground. They're like, oh man, we just dodged a bullet here, because nobody has seen and been able to independently examine the body. Hi, Pro Hawk BJ, welcome. And Debbie Blair, welcome, Debbie Blair. So yes, this was very fortuitous that they ran into a family that wasn't this person right here, because she would have been up their ass 7 ways to Sunday, had control of the body of Enrique, and nothing would have happened. So Scott says an autopsy is a sort of one and done procedure. It's so not necessarily, though. You can still have someone else examine the body. There's a lot of things that they could have looked at, the broken teeth, the x-rays, depending upon, I know what you're saying, that it can be destructive, but that doesn't mean you can't have an independent forensic pathologist come in and look at it. With Sandra Birchmore, it was only done on the report. Hi, Peg from San Diego. Welcome. I love California, so if San Diego is an amazing place, best weather maybe in the United States, they say. Okay, so there's that. Now let's get to my colleague Brian, who's done a lot of work on this case. He's done a lot of good work on this case. He has advocated for the family. I love you too, Peg. And he had put up a billboard at his own expense. And he's done a lot of things that just, come out of his heart, and he takes out of his, out of his pocket to do things. He's donated money to Karen, donated money to Enrique, donated money to Turtle Boy. He's just done it. He's done a fantastic job. Brian is not a friend of mine. He's not a fan of us. We haven't made friends with him. But that's not what this is about. It's just about what it is and what it isn't. Now, this is the important part here that I want everybody to pay very close attention to. I want you to put in the chat, does anybody think the video that Brian has and apparently has shared with Jess Machado is the actual video that shows front beginning to end how Enrique's injuries occurred? GoFundMe is at $47,496 for Enrique. I know. Yeah, I mean, and nothing compared to like Karen Reed and so forth. But yes, tell me if you think that is a genuine, that he has a genuine video that shows exactly how the injuries to Enrique occurred. Dennis says no. Give me somebody else. Anyone else? Would bet it does not show the critical time.
Exactly.
No. Absolutely. You have to be out of your mind to think that they would share a genuine, complete beginning? Because he said he got it from the family. Oh, I don't care where he got it from. The only people who have seen that video from beginning to end. No, Brian denies that he has a video. He's not denying that he has a full video. He's denying that he has any video after he told Turtle Boy he has a video and he showed the video to Jess Machado. There is no way that the Mass State Police are going to release a statement that said, should we go to the beginning video? Is that the beginning? Their statement, Bia?
What I sent you on X?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two from the same day, and that's when he talks about it.
Where the Mass State Police give their statement?
I'm sorry. Are we talking about two different things?
Yeah. So what I'm looking for, the Mass State Police essentially told us, because you brought up the article at one point and you sent it to me, that this was a training accident done in a boxing ring training accident. So why the hell would they say that it was done? It happened during boxing-based defensive tactics training, and then give a video to anyone that shows a beatdown where his neck was broken, his teeth were broken out, his knee was popped, and his ankle was fractured? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, and I know where he would have obtained it from.
He wouldn't have. He didn't obtain it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I can only I have a very good guess as to whom he got it from, but I also don't think that I think there's a possibility that, I mean, I'm sure they had cameras on them at all times. So I think he could potentially have a video, but I don't think it's a full video. Like, they're going to hand it over to him so that he can just hold on to it.
Oh,
that's part of an
nuts.
investigation.
You would be
that's part of an ongoing investigation.
It's what they just convicted Proctor of. It is insane that anybody thinks that Brian has a video that shows what happened to him. Now, would they have shown a video where he's like boxing and the next thing you know, he's being put in an ambulance? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe, sure. I don't know. And I really don't care, because all I care about is the same thing as the fucking Sallyport video. I want to see a beginning to end, uncut, original, forensically clean copy of the incident. And we just don't get that with the MSP. And we don't get that with Canton. So I don't believe that Brian or anybody outside of an MSP uniform has seen the video. I don't even believe that Meyer has seen the video. Nobody is going to see that video. So is this like John O'Keefe and what happened to Officer John O'Keefe? Yes. Yes, it's exactly like what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. Exactly. Incomplete materials, no report. Oh, it takes time. Tell me what takes time. There were dozens of witnesses. There is a person who inflicted these injuries on O'Keefe, and it was at the academy, and it was on on Garcia, and it was on camera. And there, it wasn't just those two in a room alone.
Right.
There were either trainees and trainers that were there. Even it wasn't the jackass who turned his back on Enrique's aunt. So, and our moderator, Boston Bizzle Brandy, has confirmed that Brian told her personally that he had the video. He has. Now, I want you to correct that right there. Well, you don't have to correct that, Brandy, because he probably told you that he has the video. He has a video, and I want it to be a small a, the one that goes like this and that, not a capital THE. He has a video, not the video, because the Mass State Police would have to be insane, more insane than stupid Michael Proctor to do that. It is sad all around. So Julie has posted this for Enrique, the GoFundMe. Prayers for his familia. If he is not telling the truth, he'll be called down, and so quite possibly does. I don't know. Okay, now when you say if he's not telling the truth, okay, so with Brian, it's not. He doesn't have the video. He doesn't have the video. Simple as that. He just doesn't. And he's smart enough. Brian is not stupid. Brian knows that he doesn't have the video because it's not going to show how the injuries happened. What are they going to show? Like cut it where there's a punch and then the next thing he's laying down. I mean, if we would have Abby video Jesus look at this and she looked at this copy, she could probably tell you exactly what happened. She could tell you where it stops and then where there's a break and then it continues X amount of frames later. And she could probably see the divergence in the amount of frames between when it was cut and when they restarted. If we show this to video Jesus, she'd be able to tell you. There's no question. Are we sure there is a video? No. Okay, so I'm glad Debbie Blah has brought us back to earth. This is the problem with the case, Debbie. We're really not sure of anything with the case. But it's not what we do know. It's what we don't know. And then we also know that certain things are bullshit. We had on Coach Luttrell. Coach Luttrell talked about what happens during police defensive tactics training. He talked about that if there's just boxing, those injuries do not lend themselves to what happened to Enrique, and I don't believe them because statistically, we have to go with data and statistics. And Bia did a search and found Vinny Pazienza as one boxer. He fought a Boston-based fighter, Irish guy, Mickey Ward, maybe? I can't remember his name now. I think it was Mickey Ward. But Vinny Paz, I think Vinny Paz is also from like Rhode Island or something. But anyway, very, very rare. And in the history of fighting that has almost no rules in mixed martial arts, there's never been one. I've never heard of one. Coach Luttrell hasn't heard of one. So what are the chances that Enrique Delgado Garcia goes into the police academy and ends up with a broken neck, busted teeth, and 2 injuries that 100%, the dislocated knee and ankle, don't lend themselves to boxing. Those are jiu-jitsu type injuries. So are they pulling a fast one like what they pulled with Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed? Yes, absolutely they are. Is it a big deal? No, because the Delgado Garcia family doesn't have the means to hire Alan Jackson and Dave Yannetti and Eliza Little and have Robert Alessi come from New York, and all this dream team of lawyers and potentially even Mark Betterow. What if Mark Betterow was on this case? Do you think this would be going on right now? Does anybody here think this shit would be happening right now if Mark Betterow was on this case?
No.
Ain't no way. He would be turning this thing upside down. He would be filing motions right now in court against the Mass State Police. 100%. I am fired up about this. I am fired up about this because nobody is really out there, and I'm not blaming you, the audience. The family has not led the way. We don't know the reasons why they haven't. We gave you 3 possible, postulations as to why maybe they didn't. And what is he? Let's see what Dennis is saying. He apologized. He told everybody, I apologize. He's full shit. I don't know. I'm not sure who my brother.
He's talking about
Brian?
Brian, yeah. He told everybody, meaning about the video.
Yeah.
Apologize to him. Yes, he's full of shit, Brandy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There have been people piling on Brian. Jess Machado collaborated with Brian, took his money, went on his show, and then said things about him that God forbid, my co-host did that to me. You know what I mean? Like, or I do that to her. I mean, that I just don't agree with that. I don't,
Well, I haven't taken your money, so there you
I
go.
know there's that
Money makes things go bad.
yeah, but I mean, your opinion. I mean, tell the audience about sort of our interactions with Brian and contextualize that against this situation.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you want me to take that, but
Wherever you want to go or not go.
or not go. All right, why don't we catch the next clip?
Okay, so essentially, he was not very kind and forthcoming to me. The 2 times that I met him at Turtle Boy's Halloween party last year, and also when he came to the meal of food, he sat right across from me, refused to look at me or address me, and his girlfriend reached across the table and shook my hand. Our wonderful meal of food that we had. So I didn't have a lot of regard for him. I'm not going to sit there and pile on the guy like a lot of people have done. Whatever he's done, that's up to him. I'm not going to, I'm not going to pile on the guy. And what Jess did, I thought was a little bit unnecessary. And I would hate to call somebody a friend and then have him crap all over me. He gave her this little glass award, and she juxtaposed that against an award that she got from the Conservative Party of Massachusetts that she said she loved and slept with. And then she put up Brian's award and said, this is meaningless to me. And I just wouldn't do that to another, somebody I collaborated with, someone I created content with, someone I accepted their money, someone, whether you're friends or not, or it's just a professional, I just wouldn't do that. And I, despite that, I don't have a relationship with the guy. He's an excellent content creator, and I would not, I just wouldn't want to do that to somebody. I'm not friends with him, but I also would not want to crap all over him. Is that fair?
Fair.
And you've had a couple of issues with him, but I think you kind of, I don't know, you kind of feel the same though,
Yeah. How about those clips?
Piling on is just not awesome. All right. Now here's the thing. Good to have Bettero or Alessi on this. Alessi is a boxer plus so smart. He'd be all over this. Yeah, he is a boxer. And yeah, he could speak to this. But I can tell you, Peg, Coach Luttrell has seen more combat in terms of boxing, kickboxing, MMA, wrestling. His son just won. I think his son just won the state in New Mexico in wrestling than Bob Alessi will ever see in his life. And he broke this down on our show. So that's all I can tell you. It's just not, what are you laughing at there?
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments.
Okay. It's just not in, it just does not comport with what the MSP alleged. If they would have told the truth and said, for example, okay, we had a fight night and this other kid went wild and the instructor didn't step in and nobody did anything and it ended up in Enrique's death, how much respect would you have for the MSP? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't know if I had any from the beginning.
But you could, but if they told the truth, how would you feel about it?
About what happened to Enrique?
Yeah.
I mean, the truth,
Let's move on. It's better listen to be okay. All right, I'll move on. I just thought it was important because Dennis, because of the context and of Brian, the video, and to say that I want to be fair to everybody, other content creators and the like. And I want to talk, I'm not a friend of Brian's. We don't have any friendship relationship or anything. But I also want to be fair. It's important to be fair. It's very important, because if not, then you're just a mouth who's just going to jump on board. And if somebody's ragging on somebody, you'll just jump and pile on. It's like being in the schoolyard and there's a fight and some kid is getting beat. And I have been beat up by more than one person at one time. I haven't even told you this, but I have been in a fight where I was dragged into the woods and had 3 guys beat the shit out of me. And then they let me get up, and then I fought one of the 3, and they let me fight him for a little bit, and then they walked off. So the point is I'm not the kind of guy that's going to jump on and just because everyone's making fun of this guy and picking on him, I'm going to jump on just because I don't like him. If there's something that he's done that's good, I'll say that. And in the context of the video is 100% not complete. I don't care what he says, what anybody says about that. So that's just that's my take on it. So yeah, I mean, it happens. You know, it's one of those things growing up where I was, it's just one of those things that happens. And, you know, you can get kids that want to, you know, that want to do that kind of thing. All right, let's go to another video, y'all. Let's go to this one. And then we'll bring this up. Oh, I know what happened here. I can't, pardon me, I can't share this from Chrome. I have to share it from Chrome and not, so forgive me. Give me a second here, my friends. And let's go to the videotape. Here we go. Okay.
But first, we do want to begin with our Jericho Tran. She's joining us live in Framingham with a look at the changes. And Jericho, how is this going to impact recruits moving forward?
Well, Priscilla, before we get to the how, I think it's important to remember that the reason why these recruits will experience these new reforms is because of the death of State Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia. I actually got the chance to speak with his family's legal representation, and he tells me that these reforms are a step in the right direction, but there's still a lot more that needs to be done.
The very tragic death of Trooper Delgado Garcia was at the forefront of all of our minds.
The death of State Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia prompting new changes at the Massachusetts State Police Academy.
I would hope that all of these changes are for the better.
The MSP Training Academy plans to divide the upcoming classes into two cohorts. One will begin this month, the other will begin in the summer.
There's been a long call, even from within the state police, to reduce the size of those classes.
Along with an hour-by-hour review of the training curriculum, 20-year veteran Captain David Pinkham has been appointed to oversee training staff.
He is also open to change. He's open to progress.
Delgado Garcia experienced extensive injuries after a defensive tactics boxing training exercise at the State Trooper Training Academy in New Braintree back in September.
It's very difficult to justify, in my view, in today's law enforcement world, why anyone, state police or other police enforcement authorities would ever need to have a mastery of boxing.
The boxing exercise has been suspended pending the investigation, but not completely removed from the program.
Certainly, we will be prepared to make the appropriate decisions regarding the future of the boxing programs once we see the results of the investigation.
In the meantime, Special Prosecutor David Meyer has been appointed by State Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell to investigate the death of Delgado Garcia.
Where he has convened a grand jury. And I expect that he has been producing or summoning witnesses to testify before that grand jury.
And today, months after Delgado Garcia's death, his family says they have still not received an autopsy report. In Framingham, Jericho Tran, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, let's take a closer look at one of the biggest changes that's been made, hiring a third party to assess the curriculum to make sure that the training, it is safe and it's as effective as possible. Bianca Beltran from our investigative unit joins us right now in studio. She's got more on this part of the story. Bianca.
And Colton, we learned that the Massachusetts State Police chose the International Association of Chiefs of Police, or IACP, to take on that comprehensive assessment of the Massachusetts State Police Academy. Now, they were one of 3 agencies that submitted proposals, and we obtained copies of the bids submitted to the Commonwealth, which says that their proposed plan includes evaluating curriculum and training methods, analyzing attrition rates, examining fitness fitness standards and injury prevention, evaluating organizational culture and leadership, and comparing the Academy's policies to national best practices. Now, the IACP pointed to several examples of similar work, including an assessment of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in 2019. That assessment resulted in 110 recommendations. Now, I asked Colonel Jeffrey Noble if the department considered including an organization that is not law enforcement or has a law enforcement background to take part in this assessment, and this is what he said.
And we felt that the first step in the process was to partner with the IACP, focusing on the experience of the police leadership that the IACP offers. And then beyond that, once we get the assessment, I absolutely look forward to then expanding our further discussions with folks that are outside of the law enforcement, whether it's community groups, obviously state.
All right, so I'm pretty good on that. You know, the thing is, if they're going to assess, yeah, the boxing program, but who's going to assess the fight night thing that we've heard about? Because obviously, someone that was there talked about that. So I want to know, like, who's going to assess the racism that told the Haitian guy, "You're never going to graduate. You don't belong here. Go back to Haiti," and made him count bricks in the wall, and told the 163 other cadets in there, or trainees or recruits, whatever you want to call them, to call him the N-word or something like that. So yeah, how's that? Yeah, like exactly like Aperture. Yeah. So I don't have. They can write a they can write a report. Exactly, they can write a report and all that. But if you're assessing their boxing program, that's great. I'm saying that didn't happen during boxing training. That's what I'm saying. I don't care what those guys say. I just don't buy it. So, I don't know. Bia, give us a couple of minutes on your thoughts on this whole case, the video, the lack of the video, the report, just anything that you'd like to say.
Well, did you notice that was their attorney, Alois, was the one that the other person that was talking? That's the Delgado.
No.
That's what I was hoping you were going to notice. Is that was the other gentleman that was talking was their attorney, and he's just sitting there, just waiting, and just seems to be this endless game of waiting. But yeah, I mean, it's just so sad.
Do you have a hope that? I mean, do you think this would be different if Betterow was their attorney or someone like Betterow?
I mean, I also see. I don't want to say that it would be better because, you know, just because their attorney isn't being public about everything that's being done doesn't necessarily mean that he's not doing a good job. Of course, do I think Betterow would be out there, you know, screaming off the rooftops? I think if he...
But that's what you need. How are you going to get
Right.
change if you're not doing that? So their attorney isn't doing shit.
Right, but we don't really know exactly what their
But
attorney is doing.
he's not doing what you just said.
Right.
Why does Betterow get results? Because he puts something out and he goes on half a dozen news programs, and then he goes on a dozen YouTube shows. He's on with Turtle, and he's on with Mike, and he's on with The Glare, and he's on with Melanie. You know, Melanie's, you know, herself might have 15,000 people watching live, not to mention her replays. He can get on with Andrea Burkhardt. He can get on with the folks, the Defense Diaries folks, or what's the young lady from Los Angeles that I can't think of that has 750.
Oh, Emily Baker, Emily D. Baker.
Yes, it has 750,000. So that's 750,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So yeah, Betterow would be doing a better job, as would Alan Jackson. If she had a Reed-like team, this wouldn't be happening right now. Because
See, I just
pressure.
feel, sorry.
Pressure is what makes things change. Pressure. If somebody's not going to pressure you to do something, it's like having a chore around the house. You know, you talk to Nathan. Are you gonna get the pool pump going? Nathan, get that pool. I want that pool up and running by this weekend. And what happened? He's taking that damn pump apart. He's the filter, and he's like, I'm gonna get this because Bia is putting pressure on me.
Right.
This is what, hello, Limonene, how are you? So this is what I'm talking about.
No, I
Sitting
get what
there
you're
and
saying.
being quiet is not going to do it, man. I'm
Right.
sorry.
And I also think, so here's where I think the issue, there's a big language barrier that I think, and the inexperience, the not knowing, the rushing, like, I'm sure, they didn't have attorneys by the time he was being buried, so they didn't know maybe we should have done an independent investigation. Then they went and probably met with one attorney, hired him, and that was the end of that. Like, I don't know how much it was looked into, because again, this was something unexpected. So I think the inexperience, the language barrier, and just probably never navigate. This is something that the common person would never have to navigate through. Yeah. And I don't think they had the proper advice or knowledge or information to do anything else or to go hire Bettero. I think they just, from speaking with the family, they just rushed to hire somebody because that's what they were told to do, or that's what they decided to do. But,
I couldn't agree with you more. You just said it all right there. I'm not going to sit here and criticize the family.
No.
For all the reasons you just laid it out, and I can't improve upon what you just said, or even I don't have anything to add to what you just said. So okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, they didn't know. Their inexperience, like you said, language barrier, cultural understanding, not an understanding perhaps of American law. But I am as certain as I'm bald, they would have different outcomes if they would have hired a team, like if they had the wherewithal to hire a team like Karen Reed, or if they would have hired a Mark Bettero. He would be up their ass so far, sending letters, filing motions, and he would be applying pressure on them. Right now, they could sit back and let me get my. This is comfortable. Yeah.
Nice.
I can be comfortable. But if you start pressuring me, now I got to make something happen. And I got to start talking, and I got to somebody that's quoting a law, and that's not happening. So with that, I want to let go of the Enrique case and I think Bia has some...
I thought you were gonna play the clip that I was in.
Oh, okay. Let's.
And then the breaking news.
Okay,
dude.
Okay,
what is going
which
on?
one's the one you were in?
Oh, sugar. Let me see.
I see 11, 10, 8, 5, 3, 3, 3.
I know, but I don't know where you left off. Let me see what it's called. It's the one that says like everybody came together. So hold on.
Oh. Okay, hang on. Okay. I wanted to get to Adelson because we're an hour and 20 minutes in already. And let you break that down, but let me is it not okay, it's not that one. Okay. Not this one. Okay. I want to say it would have been 5 months ago, right? Right around there.
I think it was the one from like 8 months ago.
Okay, 8 months ago. Okay. All right. 8 months ago.
Because it was in like before the winter.
Okay.
Before the winter.
All right. Justice for Enrique. Here we go.
Enrique Delgado Garcia collapsed during a boxing drill at the State Police Academy back in September. Good evening to you. I'm Ken McLeod. Today, his family's anguish was on display as they wondered when they would finally get a full accounting of what happened to him. WBZ's Paul Burton has the story now from Worcester.
Her family's never going to be the same. Her sister, which is Enrique's mother, is totally, this has destroyed her.
The family of Massachusetts State Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia are looking for truth, justice, and transparency. On Saturday, a small group gathered on a busy Lincoln Street in Worcester, holding up signs and speaking out. They're here to bring attention to his death investigation. Delgado Garcia died back in September after a boxing training exercise as a trainee for the Massachusetts State Police. He was only 25 years old. Felicia Garcia is Enrique's aunt.
He was just a very good person. He was always there for everyone.
The circumstances surrounding his death is still under investigation. They are demanding answers and praying for justice.
The family and the whole state of Massachusetts knows that this wasn't an accident, this was an assassination. She's here for justice, and they deserve answers, and we're all human, and we deserve to know what happened to him.
The family says Enrique dreamed of becoming a state trooper. It was his passion. Now it's been 3 months and they still have no answers.
This needs to stop because this not only did it happen to her family, it could happen to anybody else's family. So it needs to stop, and they want answers.
And justice for Enrique. It's been very quiet for 90 days. We have no answers.
The Massachusetts Attorney General's office has named an independent attorney, and WBZ is told is still under investigation. In Worcester, I'm Paul Burke, WBZ News.
All right. There she. Wait, hold up. Give it up right here.
Oh boy.
Come on. Hold on a second. It cycles through it now. It's back. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, Boston Bia.
But then, all right. So if you want to move on from that, then today we've got word. So why don't you open up the article? So do the one.
Top one?
Top one, yeah.
Julio's post, okay.
Oh, no, I was going to say not Julio's post, the other one.
August 11th?
No, oh, I'm sorry. No.
Oh, sorry. Here it is. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me open that one. There we go.
Thank you, everyone.
See that? Getting all kinds of applause for your damn skills that you got.
Well,
yeah, give it up for my co-host.
I was the only one willing to go on camera and that was able to translate. So I did my best.
Co-host, man, come on.
So this isn't this is something like we have to read it. So
all right. Do you want to do some voices? Here we go. A Massachusetts state trooper who died after participating in a training exercises at the Massachusetts State Police Academy last September had fatal complications from blunt impact injuries, according to the family's attorney. You want to read second paragraph?
I can't even see it.
Okay. And
do you want to make it bigger? And I will.
Yeah.
It's literally so tiny.
Okay, how's this?
I could full screen it. I just won't see the chat.
How's this?
All right. Yes. So am I at Mike Wilcox?
You're at Enrique Delgado Garcia.
Okay. Enrique Delgado Garcia was hospitalized and later died after participating in a boxing training exercise at the academy at New Braintree last September. His death has sparked an independent investigation after Worcester County District Attorney Joseph Early recused his office due to Delgado Garcia's previous employment as a victim witness advocate. Mike Wilcox, an attorney representing Delgado Garcia family, said a death certificate should be filed with the Norfolk County DA's. I'm sorry, with the Worcester City Clerk soon. Sorry, I'm so used to
We're so used to Norfolk DA, yeah.
Norfolk DA that comes out. And the cause of death will be complications of an intracranial hemorrhages due to blunt impact injuries to the head in the setting of a physical training exercises.
So let's talk about that for a second. Intracranial hemorrhages. So we need to, if somebody can Google that, or if you can Google that, Bia, intracranial hemorrhages due to blunt impact injuries. So now we could start getting to somewhere like knees in the head or something like that. Delgado Garcia's family has been waiting nearly a year for answers on what happened. A few details about the investigation have been made public. All right. And Massachusetts State Police released the following statement in the revelation on Wednesday. Here you go. Go ahead, Bia. With feeling. Yes.
With feeling. Ooh.
Yes.
The Massachusetts State Police State Police remembers and honors Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia as one of our fallen. His kindness, his compassion, and dedication to the department's mission continues to inspire us all who knew him from his time at the academy and beyond. His time at the academy and beyond? Seriously? Beyond was his death.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
the-
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, where we let him die, and
Right?
that's
As
great.
we approach the first anniversary and continue our review of training practices, the department shares the Delgado Garcia's family desire for a thorough accounting of the facts and circumstances of his tragic death. The state police has fully cooperated with the ongoing review of this tragedy, and we await the findings of that independent inquiry.
Oh yeah, can you put quotes around quote independent unquote inquiry? 'Cause,
Right.
Yeah, we don't buy that at all. The independence of it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So just so you know, intracranial hemorrhage refers to any form of bleeding within the skull. It can result from trauma, vascular abnormalities, hypertension, or other medical conditions.
Look at that. There you go.
Thank you.
Look at this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see that happening. I mean, first of all, when anybody here who's done any boxing, you can have 10-ounce gloves, you can have 14-ounce gloves, 18-ounce gloves, 20-ounce gloves. So there's a really good chance that at the academy they have very, very thick gloves. And I just don't believe that he would have gotten intracranial hemorrhaging from blunt force due to being hit, unless this guy, I mean, Muhammad Ali has boxed people, that weren't professional, and they didn't end up with intracranial hemorrhaging. So I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. That sounds more like a knee in the head somewhere, or an elbow in the head, something like that.
And remember, his aunt also told me that his brain injuries was one of a person, going 100 miles an hour and hitting a brick wall. That's how she described it. 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
That's the kind of injuries he had.
Yeah, the type of broken neck that he sustained, because we talked about Vinny Pazienza. He didn't die as a result of the break in his neck. Vinny Paz didn't die. And that's fighting in a ring with a professional boxer. That being punched by a professional boxer is a totally different animal than being punched by someone who's not a professional. And even in cases in MMA scenarios, now there are some MMA fighters that are really, really strong in boxing, but there are also people who have not boxed before, and it really is the snapping and the power. I'm going to give you guys an example. Conor McGregor, Irish MMA fighter, did a lot of boxing over in Ireland. He was considered one of the best boxers in the UFC. Does everybody remember that? Conor McGregor from Ireland, one of the best boxers in the UFC. And what happened when he got in the ring with Floyd Mayweather? And Floyd Mayweather carried him from a couple rounds and let him have some success. And then he started to really snap punches on. Do you guys remember what happened in that fight? So now you have Conor McGregor, one of the best boxers in the UFC, in there with Floyd Money Mayweather, who is already in his 40s, probably late 40s at that time. And the referee had to come in and rescue McGregor, because Floyd Mayweather, his ability to snap punches and the power that guys like that can put into their punches. I mean, the Puerto Rican boxer, Amanda Serrano, amazing. I saw her fight another girl on the undercard of, I think it was Jake Paul, when Jake Paul fought Nick Diaz, and she just fought again recently. It's a different animal. So I find it very hard to believe that whoever this kid is that went to the police academy is that strong of a boxer that he caused those injuries with 16 or 18 ounce gloves on. that caused that blunt force injury that caused the intracranial hemorrhaging. I find that very, so I think they're liars. I think they lied about, go ahead, Bia. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm so
Mhm.
used to muting myself, so you don't hear me typing. I said I'm sorry. In my opinion, that just feels like more of a beatdown than anything else.
Yeah, but that's a nebulous word. I don't know what that means exactly. Does that mean more than one person? But yeah, someone beat the hell out of this guy, and the injuries just don't line up with boxing. The pop knee looks like a jiu-jitsu injury, like they had a no-holds-barred MMA fight, that there was grappling involved, that there was some sort of jiu-jitsu involved. And I had this conversation with you the other day when I was at the gas station. I've trained a lot more jiu-jitsu than I have MMA. It is very, very dangerous. My shoulder is torn out because of a black belt who had something against me. He was trying to complete a certain maneuver on it. I wouldn't let him have that maneuver. He wanted something called an arm bar, and you can transition from an arm bar to something called a triangle choke. And he was going arm bar, triangle, and I was really good at posturing up out of armbar triangle. And this guy trapped my arm and ripped my shoulder out. So I say all this to say that jiu-jitsu can be very, very dangerous if you have people that are hopped up on testosterone, that there isn't a coach or trainer there, and that there isn't a modicum of safety. Even a referee, if a referee hears something, pop, a referee is going to start walking over and try to break you up even before you tap. He may not stop you before you tap, but they're very keen to certain things that they see that can cause an injury. That injury to his knee and his ankle looks like an inside heel hook. I can't tell you for sure that it does, but he's most certainly, those injuries are not consistent with defensive tactic training at the academy. They're just not, nor is the broken neck. Potentially the broken teeth are, if he didn't have a proper mouth guard, potentially the broken teeth could have happened, I suppose. But the broken neck, no. And now the intracranial, intracranial hemorrhaging is not consistent.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Say this wasn't a boxing style and this was just like a street fight in a building that has, whatever, like, cement walls. Do you see this more inconsistent with that than with boxing gear, a hat, not a hat, but I'm saying like all the gear.
Headgear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in question. I don't know that they were wearing headgear. Now that video that Brian has, that the family saw, because the family did see a video. They reported that they saw a video. Was that video on fight night, or was that video on another night? Were there timestamps removed from that video so they couldn't see that it was the date of his death? So we would know, did he have headgear? Did he not have headgear on? So, and we don't know that this is the case. So we don't know that that's the case. Remember, the whole theme of this show is that there is more about, and we're not going to get to Donna Adelson tonight, so just don't worry about that, folks. We're going to get to that on another night, because we're already over an hour and a half in, and I gotta go get ready for tomorrow. So there's more that we don't know than what we do know. The only things I can point out to you are the things that I think are bullshit. I think that right there. So that was a narrative. I'm not going to say where that narrative came from. I know where that came from. I don't know that to be true. I don't know. And it's not something I could even, if he did keep getting up over and over, it would be like the Rocky movies. That's what Rocky Balboa did. I don't know. What I do know is the injuries that we have been told that he had by the family and that have been reported are not consistent with what they say it is. And maybe they didn't have headgear. Maybe it did happen in a building. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe they taped their knuckles and there wasn't gloves, and that's how his teeth were broken out. That could have happened. Did they have mouth guard in? Didn't they? I don't know. I just know what they're saying is a lie. I know that the investigation doesn't take that long because there were witnesses there. And once you interview the witnesses, well, now you have the story. Plus, there was a videotape. Apparently, was there a videotape? Did instructors have fun watching these fights on replay after the fact? Maybe. What were there troopers that were invited to come there? And no, Bia, no, I don't want to show that tweet. That was specifically for us in just answering your PM.
Okay.
That
no
was
problem.
just for us.
Okay.
Because I think we covered the essence of it. Do I believe that do I believe that an EMT told Turtle Boy that this was complications as a result of an aneurysm? Sure, I believe that. But that's what you would do I believe Katie McLaughlin saying when she heard Jen McCabe say, I hit him. Do I think that there's an EMT that would lie and make something up and tell a journalist that with a lot of gravitas like Turtle Boy that and it be bullshit? Yeah, I believe that. Do I know for a fact that I heard an actual Chicago mob enforcer who went to school to become a fireman and EMT? And I can get you guys this podcast. His name was Ken. It was a podcast that was out 2-3 months ago. He was a Chicago mob enforcer, beat people up, hurt people, killed people. And he goes to school to become a fireman and EMT. And when he did become an EMT and he came upon a scene where a policeman was guilty of something, can you guys guess what the police told that? Now, again, they don't know that he's a mob enforcer. They know he's the kind of guy that looks like you don't mess with him, right? What do you think they told that EMT? Can somebody in the chat answer me? They told him in one case where someone, a officer was driving drunk, hit someone, and they were either severely injured or killed. They asked him to write a report that said that the officer was not at fault when he knew that it was. And he said it didn't happen once. It happened at least half a dozen times. So whatever Katie McLaughlin was told to say in the Karen Reed trial, and whatever that EMT was told to tell Turtle Boy, I don't believe that person. Just like I don't believe the MSP with regard to the Karen Reed case or the Sandra Birchmore case, because they proved that they lied and that they framed. I also don't believe them in this case. And we are not going to get the truth. And I don't know that that guy's independent until I see evidence that someone is taken to task. And Noble can say, hey, man, this didn't happen on my watch. And I hope he does say that. But Bia, do you have any confidence that this guy, Meyer, is going to take them to task?
I mean,
MSP?
Obviously, I think I you know how I am. I want to think positive. So I do believe that this independent team will do a great job. I mean, they have FBI background. We just saw it. I knew you'd like that. But you know what? Okay, let's back up a minute. Why don't you open up that tweet that I sent you? Because I want everybody to see in regards to how the MSP were treating the hospital staff. I think that's something that's kind
important.
of interesting. That's important. I'm sorry. I know you want to get off for the night, but I just feel like
okay. This is important.
I just feel like this kind of put some things into the one that starts with another verified source. So why don't you show that tweet?
Yeah, I don't.
So it's on X.
Autopsy completed. Family revealed. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. I don't.
So the last
I
two
only
on
have.
X.
Okay.
I sent you 2 things on X.
Yeah, that one I just brought up, and it's Julio Garcia.
Yeah,
So,
no.
Okay, let me put it up because I don't see it saying what you're alluding to. Share screen. All right. So this is a WhatsApp channel right here.
Yeah, no, I'm
But it-
talking about the messages that I sent you.
oh, okay. That's a different.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So look at the second one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now open up
All right.
that. I mean,
All right.
you're gonna have to make it bigger because I can't see, but yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. All right. All right. Another verified sauce inside. We can just go sentence for sentence or here. Another verified sauce. That's my man, Sean McDonough, inside UMass Hospital is reporting about state police misbehavior while Enrique Delgado Garcia was there. You have the next sentence. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I forgot I was on mute. To further confirm your post, MSP were specifically harassing nurses, asking for the troopers' names, injury, condition, etc. At that time,
This is
his
my
chart.
time now. Now it's
Oh,
mine.
fine.
At that time, man, his chart was locked out due to privacy concerns, and the troopers were told by the nurses that they were not allowed to give out any information because the chart is locked down.
The MSP continued to ask, intimidate, etc., and it would go to the point where at least one trooper was taking down nurses' names
Yep.
so that he could report them to their superior for not complying with his orders.
It should be said that the nursing supervisor had their employees box on pushing back on this request, but completely unprofessional from the MSP. So there you have it. Yeah, I mean, is this surprising to anyone? I mean, this doesn't. Oh, Scott, last September. Oh, I don't know what Scott's talking about. It's been a year, but congratulations, Scott, on 1 year since you started. Is that when you were old enough to drink?
No, he's
Did he just
talking
turn
about.
21?
Oh,
Oh,
wait, did I
okay.
miss something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Scott, congratulations on turning 21. I'm glad you can drink beer now. So you can see us at the Meal Food, October 12th, Irish Brewing Company, in Norwood. So, and hopefully Brian Albert will show up.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
I'm
I'm
kidding.
peace
kidding,
out.
Kidding. Peace out. Empty the restaurant. Brian will be there drinking alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Although he's
yeah,
thin now, so he may look pretty interesting.
what I saw, he didn't look terribly interesting. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not surprised at all by their behavior, trying to intimidate the nurses, and the nurses. Hopefully, some of them there were like, "Yeah, fuck you, man. You have no, you're not in charge here. We're in charge here." But that's what. Oh, Cheryl with an S. Thank you so much for being a member for 7 months, mate. We appreciate you, Cheryl with an S, and we'll see you for some very marginal pizza, potentially this time with tater tots on them. Well, you know what? I'm gonna order the cheese this time. The meat pizza wasn't terribly good. Thank you very much for being a member of Calling All Beings. Namaste. I don't know why you can't. I don't know why you can't type a message in your milestone chats. I don't know, but we're happy to have your message, Cheryl with an S. It was so cool to meet you right before we were leaving the bar that night. That was really cool. Brian will be there if they have Jameson and ginger.
Jameson and ginger.
I bet.
I doubt that he's driving up from the Cape for that.
I know, yeah. Oh, you're thinking of Higgins, right? That's right. Yeah, I don't drink beer. Yeah,
Yeah,
we should
that's
invite
the
Higgins.
Jameson and ginger.
Yeah, we should invite Higgy Poo.
Oh,
He'll
no,
Rob
thank
walk
you.
up in there with his hoodie.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think we've done. I think we did a good job tonight. I think we were able to put into context what we know and what we don't know. Most everything about this case we really don't know. We
Right.
can only conjecture. What we do know is that they're lying about what the nature of that event was, that training scenario was that night. Whether or not there were actually, I canceled 11 memberships, kept 3, got a little crazy. Well, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. We don't have a lot of members, but we're very happy to have the ones that we have. I'm looking for a job.
Aw, best of luck, Cheryl.
Best of luck, love. Been there and done that. Thank you very much, Detective McClurk. But there's just so much that we don't know. I think there is a lot of false information out there. I think that people were led to believe that Brian had a complete video. I think that there are EMTs that are trying to conduct a snow job on Turtle Boy that doesn't explain all the injuries that we're aware of. Not to my satisfaction, not to Coach Luttrell's satisfaction, not to McDonough's satisfaction. He's been through police academies before as well. So I think there's a lot of misinformation, and what we wanted to do was clear it up. Please don't believe any of the stuff. Something happened. We don't know what happened. There is no video that's out there in the public sphere beyond the walls of the MSP that anybody has seen. As I said, I don't believe that Mr. Meyer will see an uncut video. Hopefully he's smart enough. Now, is he going to get a video expert to tell him that it is not a forensic copy? He may not want to know. And I don't necessarily trust him because he's inside the state. If someone would have come from Oregon or something, or Washington or any other state, or Texas, or a Texas Ranger, and their entities and the Texas Rangers to come and investigate this, then I would feel more. Yeah, I know we need to get to 10,000. We're really close. We're like 120 away, I think, like that. Maybe we're very close. We're like, you know what? Maybe we're not. Maybe what are we at? 9380? Maybe we're at 9380.
I think it was 9.68 or something.
Okay. Yeah. So we need a couple of hundred. Would love to get to 10,000. That would be really awesome. Keep asking questions, as Julie is saying here, and keep Enrique in the conversation. I don't believe what they're saying. I would be a lot, again, we just brought up the Texas Rangers. I would be a lot more confident if an entity like that, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, potentially the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the New York State Police, led by my classmate, George Nohai, Colonel George Nohai, any entity outside of Massachusetts, I would feel comfortable. But I'm sorry, I've seen too much of these guys. Dennis said it earlier, of them trying to protect their ass. So I just don't have the confidence that that's what's going to happen. I'm sorry.
Right, because you're implicating somebody who is now okay. So we're either talking these trainees are now, they either left or they're now MSP troopers.
Mm-hmm.
Like they graduated last October. Within this, he was 2 weeks shy of graduating. So these are troopers that are currently out there that through their training witnessed all this. So I just hope a proper investigation is being done behind the scenes. And, we did hear rumors that and actually that one of those clips did say that a grand jury had been convened.
Sure.
So hopefully something comes about, and, the year's coming up. So it's time to start causing a ruckus if we don't hear.
Now, is that a state grant? Well, no, the time to start a ruckus was 6 months ago because, again, there's lots of witnesses that saw what, this is not a mystery, guys. That's
right.
The point. That's the point about this that everybody needs to understand. And when people come on shows and make it like, give them time, this is not a mystery.
Right.
A mystery is when there's been a crime apparently committed and we don't know who committed that crime, how, where was the crime committed, where we found the body, was it not, how long was the person dead, what was the manner of death, were they transported there, did they walk there? These are mysteries that the police have to figure out what happened. This is not that. There were witnesses that know what happened.
Right.
That were there and saw it.
They saw it.
And maybe recorded it. But people know what happened. So there's no mystery here. The only mystery is why we're not being told. And you know what? That's not a mystery either. You know why? Because they don't want to tell us. They don't want us to know what happened because it is untoward and it would paint the MSP in a bad light. So now I have to believe that this guy appointed by Maura Healey, the governor, is going to want to put a black eye on the Mass State Police. And I don't believe it because this state has not shown that it's willing to do that. What they have shown is that they're willing to lie and to cover shit up to protect people that they want to protect, that they don't want to look bad, because looking bad doesn't solve problems, right? It's better to lie and cover up. That is how they did shit in England. That's why we wanted independence from there. Because if you were from the right family, you got away with it. You could do what you want. All that mattered was whether you were a landowner or you had a family name or rank or position. That is what New England was supposed to be different than England. It was supposed to be New England. And it's not. It's Old England.
That about sums it up.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry I had to start yelling again. This is what these people do to me. This Mass State Police. Yeah, for sale to the highest bidder, power, the badge. Look at Proctor out there like a moron sitting in front of this thing because he wants his badge back so badly. He knows what he did.
I've been sitting through those hearings and there's no shame in his game or his attorney. Yeah, I mean, it just rehashing, which I get. I mean, I get that's part of, he has a right to fight this, but he's out here now. Everything that's in question is all the bad behavior, all the text messages, that made him biased. I mean, not the shoddy investigation. That's not even what he got fired for, but definitely the showing bias in the investigation.
Yeah, they didn't mention that he didn't take pictures of the goddamn car, that he didn't go to the scene ahead of time, because if he would have gone to the scene immediately, as any detective would, he would have said, oh, there's no taillight pieces here.
Right.
So he couldn't go. That was your point. So that's why he didn't go there initially. Then when he goes and seizes the car, they didn't say that he didn't take. Where have you ever seen someone you're alleging is the murder weapon and they don't bring the crime scene photographers there? Why didn't they do that?
Dighton at 2:00 to tell them give him a heads up. This happened at 7 in the morning. They were already arranging the tow before they even looked at the vehicle.
Yeah.
Based on Jem McCabe information saying she had a cracked taillight.
Yes, so why wasn't the photographer there to take photos of the vehicle as it sat there? Why aren't the MSP talking about that at the hearing? That it was incorrect, shoddy police procedure.
Right. I do have to let you know, though, the internal affairs investigation was not to evaluate the investigation that he did. It was to evaluate about the text messages.
Say that again.
So the IA investigator that has been on the stand now 2 days in a row.
Yeah, it's all about the text messages. Yeah.
It's all about the text messages, not his investigation of the case.
And why not? Why isn't it about his investigation in the case?
Well, because I don't think they wanted to go there, because they would have found everything you just said.
It points at him and them. Exactly. It reflects on them. So how am I supposed to believe that something honest is going to be done? All they're doing is making this asshole a scapegoat.
Right.
So what does that solve? As Scotty said here, the problem with the Proctor is all the evidence against him was procured by the FBI, not the MSP, Internal Affairs. The huge hole that Proctor's attorney is driving through is that right there. Exactly, because the MSP don't want to highlight, because if they highlight his crappy procedure, then they would have had to have taken action against him for that. The whole it's absurd. Even the Proctor investigation is absurd. Even that is absurd and ridiculous.
Yes.
They don't want to go there. They don't want to go there. Proctor is their scapegoat. That's what we've been saying all day.
Yeah.
It reflects on his supervisors and those up the line as they let him get by. Exactly. I would be, you know what? Bettero should be there asking about that hearing. Hey, I'd like to speak. Can I be heard?
Right.
Yeah. Why wasn't he taken to task for this? Why wasn't he taken to task for not photographing the vehicle? Why wasn't the vehicle taken to a state police sally port? Why was there missing video?
Right.
Why did he lie about when they actually seized the vehicle? Why was a report submitted 17 months after the fact? Yeah. So I don't trust them. I'm sorry. Call me a skeptic. I don't trust Attorney General Meyer. I don't trust any of them. I don't believe them. And if it's a grand jury, I hope it's a federal one and not a state grand jury. Because if it's a state grand jury, they're just going to present what they don't want. That, you know, they say a jury will indict a ham sandwich. You know, they're going to make sure that they don't present anything compelling. That it's all, you know, hey, we don't know what happened here. I mean, they know exactly what happened to Enrique Delgado Garcia from front to back. They know everything that happened in that academy. And yeah, are they going to address the racism, the blatant racism? That is disgusting. In 2024, disgusting to have that much racism in a state-run academy. What is this, fucking Mississippi in the 60s, man? Is this the fucking Mississippi State Police in 1963, class of 63 academy? No, it's 2024 in Boston. That's embarrassing. It's not Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia or North Florida. It's Boston. That is embarrassing. You go in the NYPD, half the officers are black or Latino. At least. And we got our own problems in NYPD with corruption. But at least racism isn't one of them, for God's sakes. That is, you should be embarrassed, MSP. You should be embarrassed that there is a training officer that said that to that guy, Baptiste. Embarrassed. You should apologize. You should bring his ass back into the academy tomorrow and tell him if he meets standards, he's going to be a state trooper. You assholes. Embarrassed.
And he was in the army,
2024.
Baptiste.
I know. Yeah. 2024. You would have thought this was the southernmost state where the Ku Klux Klan is powerful and strong, that this would happen. Where there's Klan members that are prison guards in Florida. There was a recent case where they hired a former Army guy. This is a case that happened. It's in very rural Florida, and I'd have to find you this case. The FBI contracted. So the FBI contracted a former Army NCO who he's a pretty badass looking guy. He joined the Ku Klux Klan, told him he was Delta Force, and they believed him. And I think he was a sniper in the Army, so he was a really good shot. So he convinced these guys that he was Delta Force, and he moved right up the ranks. And he broke open a whole thing with prison guards that were Klansmen, in North Central Florida. I don't remember the town, but it was a fascinating thing, the way he implicated these guys. He got how they treated prisoners, And he got those guys. He got them to admit it on camera, and then they went and they arrested those guys. So very, very embarrassing. The fact that this is happening in a place that I hold dear, that I went to college in Massachusetts. I love Massachusetts. MSP saying, MSP is about as diverse as a World War II SSU Waffen. I mean, that's just really embarrassing. It's very, very embarrassing because Boston is a place and Massachusetts is a place that means something to the rest of the United States. It's the most educated state in all 50. There's more colleges, more baccalaureates, more Master of Arts and Masters of Business and Masters of Science degrees in Massachusetts than any other state. And I feel, I don't want to say I feel bad for you because I feel embarrassed even though I'm not a resident there. But if you're part of the state hierarchy, if you're a Suzanne Cleveland that works for the state, that tries to help people in the state, it's embarrassing. It really, really is. So anyway, with that, I've babbled on enough. Parting thoughts, Boston Bia.
Please take some blood pressure medication.
Man, I
kidding.
got to get it out there.
No,
man.
no,
I mean,
that's good. This is therapy for you. I get it. It is. I mean, without laying down on the couch, this is therapy. It's all good.
If it was, maybe I'll sleep.
See, I told you I'm his blood pressure medication.
Maybe I'll sleep better than I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's just, there was so much out there that was just BS about this case.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it for months, and I've analyzed this. We brought in somebody who was an expert, and we just had to get out there what we know and what we don't know. And I want you guys to know that this is a ruse, that things are being hidden from you, that people are being lied to in the community. Do some yoga, DJ. Thank you. That people are being lied to, that we're being lied to, and we're being fooled. This is not a mystery. And we just we need to be prepared to take to the streets again.
Right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Boston
behalf of Boston Bia, the Jewels, all of you in the chat who just did an amazing job contributing tonight. We started
Scotty
out
Boy and Boston
Scotty Boy
and all our
Detective
chat.
McClurk, Debbie Blair,
Standing Stones,
Lulu
Mr.
Bell,
Sweeney,
Joanna.
Lulu Bell, Joanna,
Yep.
my besties.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys, all of you guys were awesome tonight. I got to go upstairs and shower and get ready for a very early morning, waking up to go to work. We both work full-time jobs. Catch it. Thank you, Timothy, man. A lot of our fellow content creators are able to make a living and make a living off YouTube. We have full-time jobs and support families, both of us. So we do this in our spare time, and it's a part-time job when you do it right. And I've been slacking a lot lately. I know I've been slacking, so hopefully we'll have some good content here for you in the upcoming months.
I think this was good content.
It was.
And I did some research.
No, you did. You did fantastic tonight. So on behalf of Boston Bia and all of you, this is DJ saying peace out, one love, and we will see you down the road.